Hey, everybody, this is Perch. Well, it's a rare instance. It's one of those rare, just it happens once in a blue moon type days where I was wrong about something. And so it's good to talk about that because it's just so unusual. It can serve as a learning experience for others when these moments happen. So certainly an object lesson in humanity. Can you imagine actually if you were like you came to the channel for the first time? This is the first video that you clicked on, and I sound like this obnoxious prick. Can you can you can you imagine? I guarantee you, there's if I wasn't breaking into this right now, there'd be some people in the comments like, "You're an asshole." You know, just it's anyway. Oh well, the internet. Why is it with all this access to entertainment, media, and humor, and everything else? Collectively, we seem to have lost our ability to have humor. I'm not saying all jokes are good, and that's a different burn that people like to do. It's like, oh, you think that was a joke? That wasn't a joke. But you know, eh, we used to at least acknowledge when things were funny, or at least an attempt at funny, and we appreciated that because it's not enough humor in the world. It's good to have as much we can enjoy as we can. We got college campuses burning down, and well, not burning down, but anyway. Back to the thing I was wrong about. X-Men 97. If you remember months ago, there was a big controversy about this. And a lot of this was sparked by an individual or a couple individuals getting really up in arms about the gay that was going to be infecting X-Men 97. It's going to be super gay, super woke. And as proof of these claims, because, overall in the culture war, we're getting more and more desperate for what constitutes woke because there's just not enough media coming out on any given day to feed the appetite for daily live streams and other bullshit that goes on. And so, we got to have lots, and there's not enough content being pumped out to satisfy those urges. So, the desperation came, like, did you see they have Storm a Mohawk? That's a very manly haircut. They're trying to be pro-trans or morph is bisexual, or the various things that went on. The Storm haircut one bothered me, if you remember me doing shows on the topic at the time, because as a longtime X-Men collector, that era of Storm with the Mohawk, the first era, the Life Death, Barry Windsor Smith, Chris Claremont, and then leading into a bunch of great issues to 200, and then you had the Mutant Massacre shortly after that. That era of X-Men was fucking fire. It was a great era of the X-Men. If you have not read that bit, it's wonderful. It's got high action, high drama, like good character development. It's really good. It did feature a black woman as leader of the X-Men for some time back in the super progressive woke era of 1980. You had, or the 80s, I should say. You had a Mohawk Storm leading the X-Men, and she was great. Modern day Storm, they keep like that we are going to finally pay attention to Storm. That keeps being said. I think Tom Brevoort is now like, we're going to finally give Storm her due. Jesus Christ, you had it like 50 years ago. You had it 40 years ago. You had it. What are you doing? Like some of these Storm attempts. You remember when Vita Ayala wrote the Storm stealing something from Wakanda story? It was in I think it was in the X of Swords, Ten of Swords, whatever storyline, and there was one issue, and people were like, "This is the greatest Storm comic that anyone has ever written in their life," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck me." Okay, no, and one issue. Like this isn't even picking on Vita. It's like one issue is now the best X-Men story of life is a tie-in to a crossover. Are you kidding me? No. Anyway, I mean, I'm sorry, no. That wasn't a good comic. It absolutely wasn't the best Storm comic of all time. You're out of your mind. But anyway, back to X-Men 97. So anyway, people taking shots at it, and I had the basic perspective of, look, I think we're wasting our time here because the show is going to suck. And I said that because the trailer did not look great. The animation looked, old, and not only did it not look like the animation from the original cartoons, it looked somehow worse. And there is a track record. Disney has a track record of um, when they dive into these nostalgia-like projects, they're not great. And so I was like, I don't think the problem is going to be woke. It turns out I was right about that. I think the problem is going to be it's going to be done on the cheap. It's going to be crappy. It's going to be a forgettable kind of nostalgic cash grab type thing that goes on, and it's gonna be pointless. And then I remember at the time thinking, I'm older now, and I wasn't a huge fan of the original, of the X-Men cartoons in the 90s. It wasn't like that wasn't the best animation in the history of all, humanity. So maybe I'm being a little hard on this thing because it wasn't for me back then. And so a project that, is kind of continuing that on is also, why am I complaining about it? It'd be like me going on and on complaining about Barbie. Like, that movie's not for me. The toys are not for me. I'm a grown-ass man. It's just, the Care Bears have a new quote-unquote woke bear, I guess. It's not for me. It's not even for my children. It's like, that thing's not showing up in my family, in my house. Nobody has any interest. So me bitching on and on about it feels like it'd be a little, I don't know, pathetic. But I watched the cartoon. I watched X-Men 97. And it turns out it's good. I've seen some people swing the other direction. Like, this is the greatest thing that's ever been made. No, it's not that. Again, it's a cartoon. The animation style is a little rough. Now, it turns out the animation in the trailer looked kind of shitty to me. But when watching the show, it's not that bad. It definitely is. It's hooking on to the original cartoon from the 90s. But they do a decent job. It doesn't have those weird moments that sometimes you see in Disney Entertainment where, they're going in and out of, obviously computer rendered backgrounds, and it just doesn't fit. But this is pretty solid. Like, the animation looks very much in alignment with those other shows. So if you were watching the X-Men cartoons in the 90s and you started watching this one, it would just feel like another season. It's pretty good. But the great part about it is, or the part that's been really good is, the show has adapted storylines from the comics very well. And I'm a big proponent of, I wish that the studios would just do animated versions of the comics like they do with manga and anime. Just recreate beat for beat what's going on in the comic. And that'd be a pretty damn good show. And I still maintain that. I think I would love to see that. What X-Men 97 did was a little bit different. They adapted those comics, and they definitely changed things quite a bit to move the plot along. I mean, they did Inferno in about half an episode. And while it would have been fun to see, 5 or 6 or, a whole story arc, as I'm on my second run through One Piece and my kids are watching, and we're right smack in the middle of Dressrosa, which, as those of you know, that's a bit of a burden to get through, let's just say. And One Piece, is the master of decompressed storytelling, which is probably the most generous way to say that. As we're reliving Chopper's memories of the cherry blossom tree in winter for the 5,000th time. Anyway, those of you who watch One Piece, all 10 of you on this channel watching One Piece are like, yep, you're nodding. It's still an amazing show. Like the Marineford and Innie's Lobby and that kind of stuff are still some of the best TV, not even just best animation, best TV there is. Those are fucking amazing episodes. But, you'd be lying if you didn't admit that, One Piece has its share of recaps, let's just say. But, X-Men 97 has adapted these storylines very well. And they've mixed the modern and the new. I mean, rather than do Joss Whedon's, entire astonishing X-Men run, or, some of these pieces are just taking bits of it. The genocide in, Genosha kind of rhymes. Aspects of the Storm Life Death storyline, which led into Fall of the Mutants, done very well. The Bastion, was it Extinction Agenda? Was that the story? Anyway, they're doing these beats well, and they are absolutely, it is not as kid friendly, let's say, as the original one, as they are showing mutants getting just annihilated. So it's pretty powerful stuff. it's a good show. It's not for everyone. It's not going to be for everyone. But if you're an X-Men fan, if you're a traditionalist, if you're a reader of this stuff, then, you're going to be looking at this and saying, hey, this is pretty good. This is a reasonable, representation of the comics done in cartoon form, where you have to move things along a little quicker and you have to, not necessarily go into the depth unless you're going to truly do the manga anime style. It's going to be different. But the characterization's solid. They did some interesting stuff with Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Cyclops, the standard triangle. And in a few ways, and keep in mind, I'm saying this as somebody who loves the X-Men comics and has, no holds barred about it. Lots of videos about this topic. Some of the storylines are actually done tighter and better. Some of the dynamic of Madeline Pryor and kind of how all this stuff's going on and everything else, there were aspects of that were just cleaner and less, they have the benefit of not having to do retcons or some of the other kind of stuff that, you could tell where Chris Claremont was writer for some, and then, somebody else came along later to kind of tie up those threads. And so you see the adaptation of the storylines, but you see them in a tighter way because they're not having to, move around different writers' visions. And so it's been good. So the series still has a couple episodes to go. I think we have 4 episodes left in the season at the recording of this video. But it's solid. It's just, it's what you would hope. And I think we're in such a rush a lot of the time to bitch about things. And I think a lot of reviewers, and I try not to fall into this trap, you turn on a show and you start watching it. And as soon as it kind of annoys you a little bit, and a lot of entertainment does. I was watching Ghostbusters with my kids. That's a classic movie. It's one I love. I mean, the original Ghostbusters. And even there, I'm watching it, and there are bits in that show which is like, why? Like, not every scene is a masterpiece. There's still some things in there which is like, but I'm still watching it, knowing I'm enjoying the show, and I love it. So you look past that because that's what a lot of us did for the majority of our life. But we are in a state now where as soon as you're annoyed by something, then it's like your brain flips to making it a game about how much you could shit on the thing you're watching. And some of it is definitely fair. I'm going to do a review on Rebel Moon. Those two, that's awful. Those 2 movies are terrible and they deserve to be mocked. And, there's just stuff. But, again, it is all subjective. There may be some people out there, big Zack Snyder fans, who are super into Rebel Moon. It's great entertainment, everything else. And so you can debate about that all you want, but at the very least, you're giving things a fair shake. And so with X-Men 97, I can hardly admit I was wrong. That show turned out to be good. And if you're looking for some kind of Marvel entertainment, particularly if you're an X-Men fan and you remember some of these comics fondly, this is not a bad, show to get connected with. It will give you some good feelings for those 90s cartoons if you were fond of those. It will give you some reminders of some of the classic comics and the runs and the storylines that went on there. That's fun too. And overall, is this high art that is going to be remembered forever? No. But in a lot of ways, X-Men 97 does what I wish more of these shows would do. Not take itself too seriously. It feels like it's rolling out entertainment. It's calling it a day. The show doesn't feel compelled to win an Emmy or make some bold statement or dip into kind of tinkering with the show because we have to make it more serious because our audience is more sophisticated and everything else. It's not trying to do any of that. You are getting over the top accent Rogue. You're getting, you're getting kind of melodrama with Magneto and Xavier. You're getting a lot of these beats that are, it doesn't need to be more than just entertaining. Not every piece of content, some content can be stupid, if you will. This isn't stupid, but it's just fun to watch. And right now, we need more things that are fun to watch, fun to read, fun to enjoy. That's what we need. So, it delivers. So how about you? Are you enjoying X-Men 97? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. And yes, you've witnessed it. A rare day. I was wrong about something. Thanks for listening.